Sure. Great. So thank you everyone for taking time out of your schedule to come and join us for this meeting. I hope everyone, I hope most of you are excited. I'm very excited to talk to you about this stuff. Um, oh, someone just joined. Thank you to whoever just joined. Oh, Barry. Okay, well let's wait for Barry. His audio is connecting. But yeah, it's been like almost a year since we had our last Zoom meeting. And if you all remember back about 12 months ago, we had pretty much a very similar meeting when we started, when we kicked off our CCNC road, road to CCNC. So it's exactly about a year since we last kind of did a Zoom call together. So tonight we're going to be talking about Club Crew World Championships, which is going to be taking place in Ravenna. We've been kind of talking about it, a lot the last couple of months, and that's going to be taking place next September from the 3rd to the 8th, and we're really excited to pass on along a lot of really helpful information, and I hope my hope is that it ties together. There's some new information, of course, about the logistics and everything regarding Club Crew Worlds itself, but also hoping that some new information will help tie together some of the training methodologies that we've been implementing, and maybe some of the things that you may be doing already on your own that you may not know why you're doing it, or you may not know like how. Hello? Or you may not know what is exactly is happening to your body when you're doing, when you're training a certain way. And so hopefully we can kind of tie everything together and kind of make everything a little bit more like cohesive. Because there's definitely a lot of information, a lot of things going on. So let's get started. And also I ask that you guys jot down your questions and hold it to the end of the discussion, just so that we can move this along, because it's a lot of information. All right, so great. So what is CCWC? We have a few new team members on the call with us who may not know what CCWC is, or we call it CCWC. It stands for Club Crew World Championships, and that happens every 2 years. It's a World Dragon Boat Championship for club teams. So UEAA is considered a club team because we're a team that practices, trains, and races together regularly. So we are considered a club team. However, that definition is going to be, there's some changes going on with that definition from the United States Dragon Boat Federation, and they're gonna have to like recertify all the teams that qualified for Ravenna. They're gonna send out more information about it, and there will be a meeting that a couple of us will have to attend to kind of learn more about that process. And basically, what they want to do is they just want to make sure that everyone we say is on this team is really on this team, and that they're not like someone from Arizona or ringers from somewhere else out of state that aren't actually really part of the team racing on the team. So it seems like they're really kind of taking this really seriously, as they should. This is different than the US Dragon Boat World Championships, where individuals from across the country try out to make a team. This is unique to just club teams. And we were able to earn a spot to compete at next year's Club Crew World Championship because we did so well. We came in top 2 at Nationals in Sarasota this past summer. and that's kind of a short recap for all of our newer members. And also, the divisions, there are several divisions that race at Club Crew World Championships. We have standard boat crews, which are 22-person crews with 4 alternates. And then we also have small boat crews, which is basically a 12-person boat with 2 alternates. And the small boat division is the division that we were able to win our berth for. There's also several different classes that are going to be racing as well. There's the open division, which is a division of all, usually it's all men, but sometimes it's maybe mostly men and maybe 1 female. But basically, what open division means is there's no gender requirement, like gender, certain. There's no gender requirement, so you could be any ratio of male to female on an open boat. Then we have women's boat. Obviously, everyone has to be female on that boat. And then we have mixed classes, which have to be crews have to be made up of 50% male, 50% female, which is the class that we're under. So we'll be racing as a small boat crew in the Premier Mixed division. And then, of course, there's also Senior A, which is all teams. All crew members are 40 and above, Senior B, all 50 and above, and Senior C, all 60 and above. And then we have the para athletes, and then the breast cancer survivor classes as well. Okay, so how do teams qualify for CCWC? We talked about that. You have to go to nationals and you have to place either top 5 if you're in a standard crew, or a top 2 if you're in a small boat crew. But there's some other criteria as well, which means we also have to be a member of our regional Dragon Boat Association, which for us is the ERDBA, the Eastern Regional Dragon Boat Association. So there's a $300 team fee for that each year. And then we need to also, of course, register our CCWC team, and there's a race, registration fee, of course, but we don't know what exactly that fee is right now, but last year it was $1,700. And then each participating member of that crew has to be a member of the USDBF. So you have to pay a $55 annual membership. And then if you're 24 years under, it's $25. And then, of course, as I mentioned, members have to be verified or re-verified by the USDBF to make sure that we meet the club team requirements. Okay. So what is our why? We asked the same question last year when we decided to go forth and compete at nationals. But it's always helpful to kind of bring that reason back again to kind of help kick things off and help ground us. And during our meeting with Tech, he asked us what our mission was. And yes, we do have a mission statement. It is on our UEAA.org website under Dragon Boat. If you care to take a look at it, it needs to be rewritten and condensed, but it can be simmered down to these following 3 pillars, right? Which is to cultivate a passion and joy of paddling, to push ourselves and the team to new limits, and to create bonds to support personal and teamwork. Okay, and I can say with certainty that each step that we've taken this crew from day 1 is with this intent in mind. And we will continue to let those ideals guide us each step of this journey. Because these ideals are what took us all the way to nationals. With our Sarasota crew, leading the charge last season, we saw hearts just go up in flames, ignite. We saw each other push themselves like never before. And 14 of us supported each other and created friendships and bonds that I feel like only that crew right now would really understand all the work that went into it and all that was detailed. And CCNC was not only an experience that was unique to just that crew though, right? Because we saw how much support and inspiration it brought out in everyone. We were so touched when our teammates back home, you guys sent shout outs via the live stream and shared our accomplishments with your friends and family, your coworkers. And we were that underdog team that came from nowhere. We challenged the strong and we bagged the prize. But no one was more surprised about the results than we were. Because we went into that competition not really with winning in mind. Like that wasn't what drove us to compete there. So I want to make sure we kind of bring that thought process back, and help guide us and set us up for the next 9-10 months. And you remember that same spirit that brought us together. Remember why we decided to go down that path, and hope that it will not lead us astray this time either. So, with CCWC, our goal remains still to foster passion and joy for paddling, to push our personal and team limits, and to forge stronger relationships through our shared effort and experiences. Again, we didn't let winning be our primary reason. So, and all we did was just we just cared that we gave it our best shot. So let's refocus on that, and allow those principles to kind of drive us forward. Okay. So what is the selection criteria going to be? Well, last season we didn't have a process in place. This was something that we created and developed through a lot of iterations, through a lot of feedback, a lot of discussion, from all of you, hi. And so we figured out what worked well, what could be massaged a little bit more, and what could have made it better. So we believe that the path this year, the selection criteria is going to be still the erg time trials, because we had a lot of success with that. But we think that incorporating OC time trials as a second phase would be a good metric as well. Just because getting the feel on the water, paddling on the water is just so different than on the erg, that we feel like if we had that other metric, it would help us select better rosters for different distances. So there's going to be, instead of selections based only on erg time trials, well, the initial selections will be based on erg time trials. We're going to also phase in OC time trials in August for the crew that was selected based on their erg time trials. I see a little chat question. That's Ken. Okay, so the erg time trials are going to be very similar to last year. It's going to be 200 meters, 500 meters, and the 30-minute pieces, right? The times are going to be weight adjusted, so same as last year. But instead of starting the erg time trials in March, we're going to push it back a month. So it's going to be April. Okay, they're all going to be due in April. Oh, hi, Cora. And then we will do the initial team selection based on the erg trials. After that, once we've named all 14 people for that crew, from May until August, thanks to our kind teammates, Cora, Kara, Max, and if we do have sessions out in New Jersey. Of course, I would be able to offer up my own as well. But they will be opening up slots in the springtime for anyone. But priority definitely will go to the people who've made the Italy team to get some practice time on an OC, so that if you've never been on an OC, you'll have ample opportunities to get on one, to try it, to practice on it, before we actually have rostering time trials based on distances. Okay, so those OC time trial pieces will initially be 150 meters and 450-meter pieces right now, but it's subject to change, of course, because again, we've never done that before. So we still have many more months to figure out if those are the right distances. But we'll definitely have those figured out way before the season even starts. So, we'll have another meeting closer to when the season starts, and we'll solidify that part of it. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, we will have what? Max is running from the cops. Now, a little bit more detail about the ERG time trials, because I know we have some new team members who've never been through that process before. So, thank you all for kind of bearing through it, but I'm going to kind of go through some of that for them. So for the ERG time trials, everyone will be weighed on their first attempt. This will happen in April. And that weight will be the weight that we use to compute, everyone's weight adjusted time. So this is the same thing that happened last season, right? The time trials have to be completed on the clubhouse ergs. A object, what we used last year were tables. We put those tables about 14 inches. Exactly, we measured it out. There was masking tape on the floor and everything. 14 inches from the chair. And that is to prevent, attempts at using poor technique to get a faster time. Hopefully that won't happen, but that table behind you will at least give you a reminder what technique that you should be using for the time trial. The time trial period will be from Sunday, April 7th to Sunday, April 21st. So that's 2 weeks time. And that also is subject to change because, last year we had to adjust it as well. And that's something that we're open to doing if there is a need. But, I'm hoping that by announcing these dates so far ahead of schedule that most of you will have the time management skills, hopefully, to be able to kind of organize and plan out your time properly. Pieces do not have to be done on the same day, as long as they are all completed by April 21st. Okay. And anyone is welcome to try out as many times as they like, and feel free to time trial on the left and the right sides. I've already kind of spoken with a few of you about time trialing for both sides, just because it's more valuable to the crew to have people who can paddle both sides, and I'm sure none of the coaches would argue with that, because we've had so many issues with rostering, and weight of the boat and everything, balance and so on. So I'm encouraging a few of you who I've already spoke to definitely train on both sides and trial on both sides. It can only help you, and it can only help the team. And of course, you definitely have to log your time trials into the tracker, because if it's not in, it doesn't count. Okay. So please get in the habit now of entering your baselines entering the meters that you've done when you do your sprints, your 30-minute pieces, your 1 hour long pieces. Just kind of get into the habit of that so you don't like kind of forget. All right. And same as last year, the top female and males on the left and the right will be selected. The exact number of lefts and rights or the exact number of male and female will be chosen based on the needs of the team and for balancing reasons, right? So, you know, I can't say it's going to be exactly 7 and 7, because it might not be 7 and 7. So that's something I want to just make clear. Results for each distance will be ranked. So every time you do a 200-meter time trial, a 500-meter time trial, and 30-minute time trial for the erg, your rank, right? Your ranking will determine. You'll get a score based on your ranking for each distance, and then what we do is we'll total up the scores for all your rankings for all the distances, and then we have like a chart that we just plug in your names and all your points, and then that pretty much determines how you make the team or who makes the team. Okay. So definitely I'm not gonna check on the chat. So raise your hand and ask questions. Remember the questions and the points that you mentioned in the chat, and we'll discuss as a team, okay, after the slides are done. And in case of a tie, the person with the faster 500-meter will be the tiebreaker. So the fastest 500 meters is going to be the tiebreaker if there is a tie in terms of points. And this is, again, the exact same thing that we did last year. Okay. Now, phase 2, let's say, we already, phase 1 is done. We by May, we should know who the 14 team members are going to be. But something new that we will be trying, and I mentioned trying out this year, are OC time trials. And since this is something new to the team and many don't have experience paddling on a small boat, I know this might, sound like really scary, but it will not be used as part of the team selection. So again, I just want to emphasize we're still using the erg times for team selection, but we will use the OC time trial to determine seating for various distances. Okay, so between May and August, like I mentioned, Cora, Cara, and Max are gonna let everyone sign up and use their ergs to learn and just get practice time in. It's a good opportunity to get out of your comfort zone and learn something new. And this is what it's all about, right? Getting out of our comfort zones and learning something new, embracing new experiences. And it can only make you a better paddler. Paddling on a dragon boat, it feels very, very different than paddling on an OC. And you getting that experience on a small boat is gonna make you a better dragon boat paddler. Okay, so embrace it. Don't be afraid. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay. So what are some of the things that I must do to be a contender? So because we're all at different levels, right? We have, people who are trying out who this is like only their first year paddling or maybe second year paddling, it could be their 10th year paddling. The kind of work necessary for one person to make improvements might not be the same amount needed for another person, right? So what if you don't progress far enough to make the CCWC crew? Well, then you'll be just that much more fit and ready for our regular season races, which means that we as a team are going to perform better as a whole, and that really is the primary goal, right? Remember, we have races that we need to prepare and train for long before Ravenna, sorry, is going to be in September. But we have races that we need to train for as a team, as a 20-member crew, or cruise. Hopefully, we have enough paddlers to get like two boats going to races this year, right? We have 20-person standard boat races that we need to do. And, as a small boat crew, our team is formidable. But most races are with standard 20-person crews, and that requires the last 10 people to be as close to the first 10 in terms of ability, so that the entire team can be a force. So definitely encourage everyone on the team to attend as many practices as possible. Make sure you, even if you have no interest in going to Ravenna, you should try and aim to, set yourself up for a successful season. Okay. All right, let's talk about timeline. So what's the timeline? Right now, I mean, between October and January, some of us didn't really stop, but for some who took a break, welcome back from taking a break. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it was very much needed. And I, trusted that when you had time off, you were going to take that seriously. And when it was time to come back and return and, pull up those sleeves, and put the elbow grease in, I trust that, you guys and gals will make good and do that, right? So from October and January, we'll be doing our monthly baselines. We're going to be, doing our individual strength building, and priority will be focused on building our aerobic base. So our aerobic conditioning, doing our zone 2 paddles, right? That we talk about a lot, or have been talking about a lot, and sending out resources on. So thanks Cora for posting that. That's the video yesterday. And this is a timeline very, very similar to what Tech had recommended to us. So glad we were kind of like on the same page with that. From February to April, that's when we're going to start to incorporate more sprint work. We should be doing sprint work now as well, but not a lot. Maybe once a week we'll be doing sprints, right? But between February and April, that's when you're going to start to do more. Like it'll be 2 days a week, add 2 days a week of sprints to your routine, like Kara had mentioned in Discord yesterday. You're also going to continue your strength building and your conditioning, because once May comes around and we hit the water, you're not going to be focused on strength building. You're not going to be as focused on lifting as much anymore, right? You'll do enough just to maintain your muscle mass, and not lose it, but that's just maintenance work. Okay, we're not going to be doing any more heavy lifting once May comes around. May is going to be the start of our water practices. Hopefully it will be earlier, but I think it's going to be May, because usually that's just the timeline that our boat owner gives us. So usually he sets it as a May start date. But I hope, maybe I'll ask him. Maybe he'll be kind and start a little bit earlier. So May is when we're going to start water practices. The CCW crew is going to be practicing on the water 3 times a week. And that's going to be Friday evenings, Sundays, and then last year we did Tuesdays. So we'll probably take a poll again and see if Tuesday nights are agreeable with everybody who makes that crew. And if so, it'll be Tuesday or a different day, whichever day makes sense for everyone.
Only the Tuesday was dedicated for club crew. The rest of the practices were open for everyone to sign up. Just a reminder.
Yes, thank you. Exactly. So yes, that additional practice is going to be for the world's crew only, to work on blending and strategy. And like I said, the team selections should be made the first week of May. And then travel arrangements have to be made ASAP. And when I say travel arrangements, I really just mean like plane tickets. And I'll go into a little bit more of that in the next part. But from June and July, we have our our normal races, our warm-up races. And it's likely gonna be, my guess is gonna be Philly, Montreal, and New York. I know that there's some interest in Vancouver as well, so I'll be sending that that survey out. But because we're already going to Montreal, I don't, we'll see what the interest is, and if we can actually get a 20-person crew to go out to Vancouver, because that is a bit of traveling already this year. And the reason why Montreal is top of mind is because they will actually be doing small boat races too. So it's not going to be like last year, and I confirmed this because I contacted the organizer, where they would race 10 people on a 20-person boat. They're actually going to be using the regular small boats for a small boat crew, because their teams have to get ready for CCWC as well. So that's why we're probably going to be going to Montreal, very, very likely, because it's a small boat race for us. And they will have all the race distances, 200, 500, and a 2K, which getting the 2K experience it would be just critical. And then of course we have the New York race, and all these races. I'm hoping, hopefully we can maybe bring like 2 small boat crews up to Montreal, right? Or even a small boat and a standard boat crew, up to Montreal. So, it's not going to be a race just for, those bound for Italy. Okay, I would like there to be more people joining for the Montreal race. Okay, so we're going to be sending out race surveys out really soon, so you all can kind of plan your vacation days, the days you have off, the days you take off for a race. Okay, we'll try to get that as soon as possible, so you guys can start planning. And then August is going to be just the last month of like tune up for Worlds, and of course our OC time trials, right? Which we will use to set the distance rosters. So if you do really well, and maybe sprints are your jam, and you kill a 150-meter time trial and they'll see like nothing, then you're gonna make that roster, right? That's your strength, and we want to race where you're gonna be most effective. But we're gonna try to race everybody. No one's gonna pay all this money to go to Italy and not get to race. That's just not how we roll. Okay, but having those time trials will help us at least set rosters for who's racing prelims and who's racing finals. Okay. Also, now let's talk about costs. So let's say you worked your butt off and you made the team. Congrats and joining the ranks of the U Elite. Get it? UE Elite. Okay. So it's time to book your plane ticket on what's the cost going to look like. So just to kind of give a cost breakdown so everyone has an idea on what to budget for, because it is going to Italy. It's not like we're going to Florida. You're gonna have to make sure to budget for that $55 membership fee to the United States Dragon Boat Federation. And I mentioned it's $55 for adults, $25 for people under 24. Round trip airfare to Ravenna right now is an estimate of like 1,000, maybe a little bit less than that. We're also going to be splitting hotel, and I booked some rooms already. Like I have rooms reserved for us at the Hotel Aplo. Breakfast is included, and it's about 15 minutes to the race site. So you see this little red dot, that's where the hotel is. It's kind of cool. It's like by the water. And this green dot, that's where the race site is. So it's not very far. So it should, it should be easy commute there and back. It's about 6 days racing. Okay, so the transportation, I'm just guessing. Transportation could be like car rental, or it could be, Uber. I'm not sure yet. I haven't like really delved into the transportation aspect of it. But so the estimate, I'm just gonna say 110. And then there's going to be a jersey kit for our Italy team as well, same as when we got our special shirts for Sarasota. And then food is just however little or however much you want to spend. Okay. So yeah, Cora, I'm not sure about the rental car yet. They haven't, the USCBF hasn't really sent out any information yet. I assume they usually will send out a bulletin with some information in December, and maybe they'll mention something about like transport. If not, we have to rent the car. So my estimate is gonna be like around $2,000 for the whole trip. Okay. We might book it separately. We should have enough rooms, Cora. It's Italy. We cannot actually just cram people in. Everyone has to have like a bed space, which means sometimes you might actually share a bed. You might have share a bed with someone. No one's going to be sleeping on the floor. The arrangements of the rooms, I can leave that up to someone else who has strong feelings about about who they're sleeping with or who they're rooming with. So it's a 15-minute drive, not a 15-minute walk. Yep, it's a drive. But I booked rooms enough for 20 people. So 20 people, including, families and such, and possible significant others. But hopefully we should have enough rooms. If not, yeah, we should have enough. Pretty sure we should. So yeah, budget, please save all your pennies, $2,000. And yeah, plan ahead for the costs. We're not going to be taking like deposits, like Tech suggested, because I just don't think, hopefully people on this team wouldn't just make the cut and train so hard and make it and then suddenly decide that they don't want to go anymore. I mean, if you're willing to put in so much work to train and get a spot, you're committed. Okay. So training started yesterday. Pretty much. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of training, just a reminder that paddling is, again, a full body exercise. Most of you know that already. Even some of our newer paddlers have felt that. So it really does require a more holistic approach to make sure that we become a complete athlete, because we have to meet the demands that, that it requires of our bodies. So we'll chat a bit about fitness and conditioning. Many of you are focusing a lot of your effort right now on erging, or starting to at least start to focus on your erging. But don't forget the other components that are also necessary, such as strength, muscle endurance, and power. Right. So yeah, training has to be multifaceted. Okay. After our training and training clinic with Leanne, for those who are not familiar with her, she is Leanne Stanley is a Canadian paddler and coach. she's a champion paddler in V1 and OC1, OC6, Dragon Boat. And Cora, Jason, and I had the pleasure of and Kara too. Kara did a one-on-one lesson with her. And Kara and I met Leanne back at a paddle camp last January. And I met with Leanne again actually over Zoom. I would say after our September race, our Mercer race, and I had a call with her to discuss training methods and ways to train smarter. And she shared some of her thoughts and kind of led me to some resources that I like to share with all of you. And so I know that we use the terms fitness and conditioning interchangeably often, but sometimes they're actually different. And we need both fitness and conditioning in order to be able to perform at our best. So what's fitness? Fitness is your potential for performance, right? Whereas conditioning is using that fitness to meet the demands of your activity, whatever your activity could be. It is cycling, could be running, could be swimming, but for us it's paddling. Right, so we need that fitness component, and then we need to be able to use our fitness to do the activity that we are trained to do. So conditioning is what I'd like to focus on today, because that's what most of us are doing when we are erging. The other necessary component is fitness, right? And that's that's the strength, the muscle, the muscle endurance, the power piece of it that everyone dreads working on. But if you don't have that base fitness, everything's going to be harder. If you don't have that base fitness, your conditioning will also have a ceiling. You're going to hit a ceiling, eventually. So one component goes towards aiding the other. Okay, it's the team, right? So why is it important to train for both fitness and conditioning? Well, during the season, we'll be shifting the scale, right? From low intensity zone 2 training. I'm saying during the paddling season, we're going to be shifting from low intensity zone 2 training that we've been doing currently towards more high intensity power endurance intervals. Like all the like the 30-minute runs that we do, the 45 seconds on, 10 seconds off, all of that, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. Those that we do every single practice. We're going to be doing that. So we're going to be shifting gears as the season as the water season starts. And the greater our fitness and conditioning levels, the greater our potential energy, and the more we can achieve at each of these practices. Right? When we're racing 200 meters, 500-meter races, our energy system shifts. Our body works like a car. Cars have different gears, or a bicycle has different gears. Our body works the same way. We have different gears, different energy gears. We call them energy systems. So our energy system shifts when we're racing at 200 and 500. It shifts from the anaerobic alactic system, and that's the system that uses up energy the first 12 seconds. Those first 12 seconds uses stored energy that's already in your muscle. You have about 12 seconds of like stored battery in your muscles, free battery. And when I say, the reason why I say it's free is because there's no charge to using it. There's no cost to you. Now, that cost comes in the form of lactic acid. So you have 12 seconds before your body starts switching to the next energy system, which is the second gear. So after 12 seconds into the race, your body's going to go, okay, now I got to kick it into the second gear. And I'm going to, now use a different energy system. So anything from 2 to 3 minutes uses now a different energy system, a different level, a different tier. This second energy system is called anaerobic lactic. So that's from 2 to 3 minutes, right? This second system primarily uses carbs for energy, but it starts to produce lactate as a byproduct, right? So when you use carbs for energy, you produce a waste called lactate. Lactate can be used as an energy source if your body is able to process it efficiently and doesn't allow it to accumulate. Now, if your body is not efficient enough to process this lactate, it's going to start turning your cells acidic. And when your cells are in this acidic environment, your muscles are going to start to fatigue. And that's that burning feeling that you get, right? It's just it's your body's way of trying to protect itself. Like, oh, you're hurting me. You need to stop. You're not being hurt. Don't worry. We talked a lot about zone 2, and you've heard the reference almost at like every workout. But this is why it's important. Zone 2 is where the magic happens. It's the optimal zone to create more mitochondria. If you work out of zone 2, I told this to Astrid also. If you work outside of your zone, you're not going to be creating mitochondria efficiently. Our slow twitch muscle fibers, so we have fast twitch and slow twitch, right? The slow twitch muscle fibers can create the most mitochondria. So that's why we want to be in that zone utilizing our slow twitch, because that's going to help us produce the most mitochondria. And so but we have to, in order to do that, we have to do zone 2 in a large volume. So we have to do it very often, very long sessions, right? To stimulate the growth. And it also happens to be the zone in which we burn fat the most, right? So fast twitch fibers, again, it don't create as much mitochondria. So when we're in this off season, we want to focus on prioritizing our zone 2 paddling, right? Our zone 2 efforts. When we do our 2Ks, it also goes through the alactic system, and then the lactic, and then finally the aerobic. So when we do our 200s, our 500s, our 2Ks, it goes through, our body switches through each of these systems. First gear, second gear, third gear. And you can see the duration, right? Alactic, energy system is involved in the first 10 or 12 seconds because there's no lactic acid produced. So we're feeling good at that point. After 10 seconds, anything that's 60 seconds, 90 seconds, that's going to go into the lactic energy system. And that's when you're going to start to produce, your body's going to start to produce the lactic acid. And then your aerobic system takes over once your activity starts to go longer and longer and longer. Okay. So when we do our 2Ks, it goes through the same phases. Alactic, then switches to lactic, and then it goes into the aerobic. Because 2Ks are what, like 9 minutes long? Way longer than like 3 minutes. So it's important that when we train all 3 of these energy systems. But again, definitely we have to prioritize the aerobic energy system first. Okay. So how do we improve our conditioning without sacrificing our strength work, and vice versa? Because our sport is in this like weird place where we're not exactly all power sprinting because we have that 2K, right? So we have to kind of find a balance. We need the strength and the muscle. Like if it was all just like 100-meter dash, like Usain, if you were Usain Bolt and you only needed to work for 9 seconds, yeah, work on the power, right? Work on your, you don't need to work on your zone 2 at all. but we're not. Our sport is kind of like right there in the middle. So how do we improve our conditioning without sacrificing our strength? We need to maintain our strength, build our strength, maintain it without sacrificing it. So again, our sport just straddles the line between power and endurance. Some of us struggle with both. Some have a lot of strength, right? Some of us have a lot of power, but we don't have a lot of endurance. Some of us have really good endurance, but our power is, not so good. So how can we work more efficiently to develop both areas without sacrificing one over the other? So the body thinks and reacts in response to stress. This is something I've mentioned to Roy. If we don't stress our bodies, if we don't put it under stress, it's not going to respond. It's not going to react. It's not going to grow, right? Because the body will adapt to meet when it gets stimulated. It adapts to meet a demand, but we have to be able to push it enough for it to adapt, to create those adaptations. So volume and intensity is what drives the stress. We can separate our training days into different categories with purpose. And this is something that Leanne had kind of led me, she led me down a rabbit hole. Yep, she led me down a rabbit hole. So we first stimulate the body without accumulating fatigue. So that's the stimulation part, right? We have rebound. So in a training week, you could separate your days into different types of training days. We have a stimulation day, we have a rebound day, and we can have a development day. So when we, on a stimulate day, let's say, a day where we want to stimulate the body, we want to work out, we want to do a workout, but we don't want to necessarily push hard. We don't want to get too tired. We want to just kind of prime the body, get it ready for the hard days. Okay, and this is probably going to be more crucial when we do our water practices, because every other day is going to be a stimulate day, right? It's going to be a development day. So we need these stimulus days to kind of help prime our body. And this priming is going to help our bodies handle the harder training that is planned for the next day. So on these days, you're going to incorporate a mix of both strength and conditioning. So again, one day could be dedicated to just stimulating the body, priming the body. So this type of training day uses moderate volume, moderate effort. This is like a zone, that would be like your zone 2 day. Okay. Low effort, low intensity type of work. So you're going to do, you could go to the gym and just do a few sets of an exercise and some reps. It's not going to be intense. It's just kind of get the body warmed up, right? The next type of day would be a development day. And again, that development day is the red days, the days that are going to be the hard days. Like those crazy sprints that Kara does sometimes where you're about to pass out, like those you do those would be categorized as a development day. And you can do those 2 days a week at the most. And those are the days when you really push yourself to the max with high intensity, high volume workouts. Because the body's not designed to be crushed every day. But 1 or 2 days a week, you can push your limit. So on those days, you want to take that conditioning up a notch, right? Use higher volumes, use higher intensities. And those are what development days are for. So the last type of day we have is a rebound day. So as So a rebound day is not really a rest day. A rebound day is just a day where you do a lighter workout. You're still working out, but it's a lighter workout to prepare your body to rest and regenerate. Okay, so it, today I like feel like we're like this season we've been talking a lot about nutrition, eating your protein, how to recover, and this will build on top of that. And recovery is really important. And not only does it help prevent overtraining, it prevents injuries, it also helps you get results faster. So, the rebound training is just a specific way to get in and train. And, you're not sitting at home and resting. We're not doing that. We're not sitting on our butt doing nothing. But doing a light workout actually helps to accelerate recovery on your actual rest day. Okay. So more on fitness and conditioning. Also, as I mentioned, the body is going to initiate adaptations in response to whatever stimulus that you give it. So if you don't give it enough stimulus, you're not going to see the results. It's not, your body's not going to adapt. So on the stimulate days, this is kind of how you could start to organize your workout routine, your goal, your days. It's just another way to kind of get more efficient and get more like results out of it versus just going hard every single day. I think that some of us, right, already are very good at sticking to a schedule. Some of us are good at sticking to our routines, but you can incorporate this next level to kind of organize your routine a little bit better so that you can work a little bit smarter. So, as I mentioned, if your body does not respond, likely the stimulus that you're giving it is not enough. So I kind of broke out these 3 different types of days. So you should schedule 1 to 2 development days a week. So those are, your hard days. And next, if you're just starting out, try just 1 development day. Okay, maybe there's 2 different types of plans. Like, so for someone who's relatively fit, right? If your resting heart rate is below 60, you're pretty fit. If you're below 60 resting heart rate, you could do 2 development days. If your resting heart rate is above 60, then maybe 1 development day is enough for you. Okay. Now, again, I broke out, the types of workouts that you could do across the different types of days, and you'll notice that there are different types of workouts that will work out your 3 different energy systems. So on your stimulate days, remember those are the days that are moderate or low intensity, right? Those are great days to do your zone 2, zone 2 paddling. And that's going to work on your aerobic energy system, right? So you can either do a combination or just one of these if you get, bored, or you wanted to add something else, or if you're like a few of us, we erg and we go to the gym, we do 2 things do 2 workouts in 1 day. You could do your zone 2 day on your stimulate day, and you can do some high resistance intervals that on that stimulate day, or you can do your strength and power lifts at the gym, right? So that would be your deadlifts, your bench presses, your compound lifts, like your squats. You can do that on those days. Now, Cora was asking me about the high resistance interval training. That is one of the methods for training your alactic system. remember the alactic system is that first like 12 seconds, maybe like of like free energy that you have. So when you're doing these high resistance intervals, you have to do it with resistance. So you can't set the erg at like a resistance 1. You have to set it up to a higher resistance. Anywhere from like 4 to like 10, whichever is you feel will give you some added resistance. And you go all out for just 5 seconds, and then you rest for 6 seconds, and then you do that 15 times. It's not going to be very tiring, but that's the point. The point is not to go all out. Your heart rate is not going to be, I know Cora was asking, why is it like 112? It's such a low heart rate. But that's the point. The point is, on the stimulate days, we don't want to kill ourselves, because the next day is going to be the torture day, right? So if we do the high resistance intervals, we can do them in short bursts, and it'll help us work on our short, our fast twitch muscle fibers, right? Which is going to improve your explosive power endurance. I hope that answers Natalia's question. And the key is short explosive bursts with a long rest interval. Okay, and you should be able to do these without taxing your body. Again, you should be able to keep below that threshold where your body starts accumulating that lactic acid. We don't want to go into that next gear at all. So those are the stimulate days, right? Now on the development days, those are the days of pain because those are the days when you're going to be pushing at least like 85% of your maximum heart rate. So that is the day to do your lactic threshold training. So what is lactic threshold? Lactic threshold is the point where your body starts to have some trouble processing all the lactic acid that's being generated. Okay, so you're at that point where your system is starting to be a little bit overwhelmed, but not like extremely. Okay, so that's about 85%. That's like your zone 4. Okay, so that's your lactic threshold, usually around your zone 4, around 85% of your max heart rate. So if you don't have a heart rate monitor, please get one, because it's gonna help you train smarter and it's gonna help you train better. Okay, they're $20, $20 on Black Friday, but it's probably back to regular price now. So the development days is when you're going to be doing your lactic threshold training again, as I mentioned, 85% of your max heart rate. It's a comfortable hard. I put that in quotes, comfortably hard. And that's going to train your lactic system. So lactic threshold training will push your body to function at a higher intensity level just before your body starts to fatigue from too much like lactic acid. Okay. And again, I said this happens in zone 4. And there are several types of threshold training that you can do. And guess what one of them is? It's that 30-minute baseline piece that everyone hates doing and dreads doing. Well, those are actually good for you. So you want to actually incorporate them into your weekly routine. Okay. You don't have to do all of you can do, there's 3 types, right? So we'll go over each of them. First is the 30-minute continuous zone 4. The other type of threshold training is the 1-to-1 sprints or the 2-to-1 ratio sprints. So what that is really like, okay, 1 minute on, 1 minute off, 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. 1-to-1 ratio in terms of work and rest, or 2-to-1, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, 4 minutes on, 2 minutes off. And then you also have another kind of threshold training that you can do, which is just 3-minute pieces, right? So we used to do 3-minute pieces last year. Well, this is 6 3-minute pieces with only 1 minute off. Okay. And then lastly, you also have those 20-second sprints that we do, right? 20 seconds on and 90 seconds off. Well, there's a name for it. They're called cardiac power intervals. They're actually a thing. We didn't make it up. So these are several types of lactic threshold training that you can do. You can, do one week, do another next week if you get bored. Some of you guys get bored doing the same, intervals every week. Well, now you can switch it up. Okay, choose one of these and you'll be fine. You'll be good, right? Now, these are going to help you develop your lactic system to generate more power for longer amount of time. And the key, again, is to keep your heart rate between like 80 and 90%, right? You want to really hit that zone 4, which is really what you're feeling when you're doing those 30-minute baseline pieces. And then some of the things that you can do on your rebound days, your recovery days, is, to help you wind down and focus on like an active recovery. An example would be you could do like 15 or 20 minutes of, low to moderate work at 70%. So that's maybe 15 or 20 minutes on Z2 on a treadmill or on a rower or on your erg, right? 20 minutes of Z2. And then you can do one, compound exercise, either like a deadlift, like a set of those, and then do a 2 or 3 other like accessory exercises, right? Maybe like a bent over row, or do pull-ups or push-ups. There you go, 3. Those are 3 exercises already. You do a few sets of those, and that rounds out your rebound day. And the rebound day should only be about 30 to 45 minutes of work. Okay, should only be that. And then of course you have to stretch, but it shouldn't be like this long workout, right? It should just be short workout that kind of, is a little sprinkle of this, a little zone 2, a little like strength and power, and then some other accessory lifts, and then that's it. It's like a cool down for your body. And you can also do like yoga. You can do mobility exercises. You can use your resistance bands and do those exercises. Those are fine too. But the goal is to help accelerate the recovery process, because that was something that Jonathan had asked me yesterday. How do I recover? How do I accelerate my recovery? Well, one way is to do this type of rebound routine, this recovery routine, so that you're getting blood flow still to all the different parts of your body, and the blood flow actually helps promote your tissues to repair, and it also gets your central nervous system to begin recovering as well. Okay. So I know this is chock full of information. I hope that I labeled things and kind of broke it down into sections that you can reference as you carry forward with your off season, and hopefully this kind of helps you organize some of your training a little bit better. I actually, so this is kind of like the template, the model that we are following, that Leanne kind of directed me to. And I thought it made a lot of sense. And there's 2 types of schedule. Like I mentioned, there's a schedule for people who are moderately fit, and then there's a schedule for people who have a higher resting heart rate that may not be quite there yet, but like they need another day of stimulus, for example, and 1 fewer day of development, right? And this is a plan that I had. Hope everyone can see my screen now. So this is a plan that I had made Astrid, actually, because she asked me to help her come up with a plan for her off-season training, because Astrid also wants to try out for Italy, and of course I was super excited to hear that, and I'd do anything for you guys. So I came up with this plan for her based on the uh, the 222 model, 222 model, which is, sorry, the 123 models, which is just one development, two stimulus days, and 2 rebound days. And I based this off of the days that she gave me, that she said that she was available to put work in. So whatever days, I asked her, what are your free days? And I kind of built this plan for her. And it's not nothing crazy detail, like some other plans that, out there, but it is a good starting point to help her organize her training, and what type of exercises she can do, and so on. So, if anybody wants me to put something like this together for them, I'm more than happy to do that. You just have to ask. Let me know if you need help. Happy to put something like this together for you, for any of you actually. Maybe hopefully this will help her. But this is something that I had worked with her on. So let's go back to our slides. So again, the importance of recovery. Recovery drives how much training, stress our body can take without being burnt out, right? And any low to moderate activity can be used as active recovery. So the example that I gave before is just an example. You can do any of these. You can do the rebound workout that I mentioned in previously, or just do an hour of yoga, right? Or 45 minutes of yoga. You could do some body weight exercises, like I mentioned, mobility exercises, and anything will. Just don't sit on the couch and veg out. You can do that, but on a rest day, like afterwards, the day after recovery, right? Because all of that's going to accelerate your recovery, and it's and the most important thing also is to focus on sleeping. It's to focus on your nutrition, all the stuff that we talked about, consuming your protein, eating your sugars right before your workout, a little bit of sugars after the workout, reducing your stress, right? All that help goes towards helping you recover better. Okay. So with all that fitness and conditioning that we just talked about, now we're going to talk about what you have to do when you're on the erg. Because again, like I mentioned, the erg is a big part of your conditioning, because it's actually putting your fitness, applying it to the activity that you're doing, which is exactly what the erg does. So the erg has been an instrumental tool for us last season to help get us ready for the competition. The mileage that the Sarasota team had invested allowed us to hit the ground running this past spring. And we all felt it. The very first Tuesday practice that we went to, we felt it. Like that boat flew. If you all can just transport yourself back to that very first practice, you guys remember how good that champion boat felt with just 10 people. It was ridiculous. So that's the type of training that we need to do again to get us back to that point and even beyond. So I want to see more people coming to the clubhouse to erg. Make time to come when you're, if you can't make some of the days, I'm happy to open up. I open up on Fridays for people. Lewis opens up, right? So, we really saw some great results based on that off-season base that we built. And we made up a lot of ground, and we closed the gap between our best 14 and the competition's best 14. Okay, so you know, we closed the gap enough to earn us a berth to Club Crew World. I mean, that says a lot. So, you know, a few key points about using the erg. You know, the purpose of the erg is to help us become better paddlers. The purpose of the erg is not to become better ergers, you know, or pergers, right? It's a tool that it's going to help us pace ourselves better, and learn how to apply our power more efficiently. So we have to have good form whenever we're on the erg. We have to avoid building bad habits. Always emphasize technique over power on the erg. Don't rush things. Don't, you know, whether you're paddling fast or slow, easy or hard, that 30-minute is still going to be 30 minutes. That 1 hour is still going to be 1 hour. All right, so just focus on your technique. You know, don't pull past the hip. You know, don't bend your outside arm. I know Cora has put up like post-it notes on her home erg. So, you know, if you guys need post-it notes like that, we will bring post-it notes to practices, and you can write out reminders for yourself so that when you're staring at the PM5, you know, you can remind yourself not to do those things, or remind yourself to do certain things, right, that you may be having trouble with. You know, just make sure you're sitting balanced. Make sure you're not like crunched over to the side. Right. So use the mirrors, guys. I know, you know, they're easier to put up the mirrors on the other. All the mirrors are actually in the other room now. But you know, we'll try to bring those out, so you guys can like look at yourselves before you get on. Sit on the erg. Make sure you have a plan. Make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you know what you're trying to do. The targets that you have. What are your goals for the day? You know, and it's always helpful to take videos. And I know Cora like takes videos of everyone erging sometimes and posts them. So, you know, we will do that a bit more frequently so that you can see yourself. Okay. So yeah, just we have such a limited order time that, you know, we really have to put in you know, that time and invest that time now. So how to check your stats in progress. So I have all the links here to the erg data form, the erg form, and, you know, even the fitness form. I know we kind of fell off that fitness wagon a bit, but, you know, this is the form if you guys never seen it. This is a fitness logger, and it basically is something you can do once a month to see, you know, how many push-ups and pull-ups you can do as a gauge for yourself, right? Am I getting stronger? Am I getting weaker? Am I not? Or am I not making any progress? Because, you know, again, once the water season starts, we will not be focused on building strength because there's no time. All that has to be done now. Okay, so use this as a way to gauge your own fitness, right? All that information is on the erg data form, which I'm pretty sure all of us have seen this already, especially, but, you know, if anyone's new and they have not seen this, here's what it looks like. Please talk to me afterwards and message me so we can get you set up. But these are all the individual stats by person. You can, you know, see your buddies like times, you know, everything that they, you know, all the runs that they've logged, what their weight adjusted times are, what their raw times are for each distance, right? So you can see your own, and you can see, you know, your teammates as well. These are okay. So Grace hasn't been set up, Alan said, but, you know, we'll set Grace up. Max, please let her know. Now these are the fitness benchmarks, right? How many push-ups? These are like the max that, you know, all these folks have done. So I encourage you guys to start logging those again to just track, you know, your own personal fitness. And that is a benchmark to let you know whether the training that you're doing in the gym is helping. And if it's not, you know, if you've kind of plateaued, let's talk to us and we'll figure out something. Okay. We'll try to figure it out. But we want to keep those gains going. These are the practice goals. So there's a lot going on at the bottom here, but the sheet that we just are about to finish on would be the November benchmarks, and then December, well, there's going to be a new sheet in December, so you can kind of see, you know, all the months and kind of track your progress that way. Okay. And strength. So these next few slides, these are, you know, similar information to what, you know, we talked about last year. So this is going to be a refresher. I might go through this a little bit quicker. So for some of our new team members, the information is here. You know, definitely ask me questions if you want me to go over anything else with you, you know, on the side. But besides erging, we have to focus on building our strength. So the next component of our training is going to be building strength. And, you know, again, only the 2K is endurance focused. So unless you only plan on racing in 2Ks, best that we start strength training, because that is the energy system that we need to tap into when we do our 200s and our 500 sprints, right?
Jenny, we're still looking at the data.
Oh, you're looking at the data?
Yeah, the slides
Just
are
back to the slides.
kind of off of you about it.
Oh, whoops. There you go. Sorry. Can you see it now? We're good?
Yep.
Okay, got it. So yes, so unless you're only racing in 2Ks, which we're not, we have to focus on building strength and power. So if our strength and power is limited, that's going to limit, you know, our 200s and 500s as well. And it'll lower our potential to perform. So there's actually a difference between strength and endurance and power. And it's important to kind of understand the differences between each to kind of give us a better understanding of, you know, how they come into play and why it's important to work on each of these components. Right. So don't confuse strength with power or endurance. The stronger that you are, it just means that you have more potential to pull. You have more pull to lift more weight off the ground. Something we get asked a lot is, you know, how do I know how much weight to use when I strength train? Well, you can find out what your 1 rep max is, then take 85% of that 1 rep max and do 1 to 5 reps for 4 sets. So this is, you know, just over time, as you consistently train, your 1 rep max is no longer going to be your 1 rep max, right? It's going to be your 1 rep max is going to keep getting more. That ceiling is going to get lifted. Okay, so some of the things that you have to do is, you know, lifting heavier requires that you have a longer rest period in between. So, you know, I could be doing like 5 exercises, but my gym session is going to be like 1.5 hours, sometimes even more than that, just for 5 exercises, because I have to rest if I'm doing like deadlifts or bench presses or any type of exercise that like requires me to use like every single muscle fiber in my body to perform it. That takes my body time to reset. It takes my nervous system time to reset. So rest at least like, you know, 2 minutes between sets for your upper body work, and then like 3 minutes for like your lower body. So how do we build power? That's one of the Tyler's questions also is, you know, power on the erg, we talked about that. How do we build muscle power, physical power? Well, that's power is how quickly and completely you can build and release internal tension. So it's all about like speed, balance, and control. Power is like you picture a spring, how much potential energy there is within a spring. When a spring builds up the tension and you kind of let it go, like all that power gets like released. So the same goes for our muscles, right? So being able to build enough internal tension within our muscle fibers is going to help us fire off all of them at once to create a very explosive result. And that's what we need when we do our starts, right? That's what we work on when we're doing those like high resistance intervals. And also when we're doing, even our like 20 second sprints, right? So it's a really critical component of our starts and our finishes. And some of the exercises that will help you with that would be like, if you don't want to go into like the big heavy lifts, you can do like kettlebells, swings, you can do sprints, box jumps, medicine ball slams, and then, but my favorite so far that's really worked, I found that worked well for me, has been those compound lifts, those deadlifts and those bench presses. So try to get, start off using just the dumbbells, and that's fine, right? But you may reach a limit where the dumbbells are not gonna do it for you anymore. And then in that case, you're gonna have to venture into the barbell, right? And I've seen really good results when I do my 20 second sprints, just based on that work alone. So there's so many different facets that we have to work on, guys. Okay. Don't shortchange yourself by just focusing on like one aspect of the training. The next is building muscle endurance. So muscle endurance is your ability to apply force over a longer period of time. And when you have good muscle endurance, you also will have a stronger core. And we notice that some members of our team who don't have a good posture tend not to have really great endurance. So I think that definitely rings true. Okay, so better endurance also means better posture. So all of you guys who are struggling with your posture, try to be more mindful of it, because it's going to help your paddling, and translate over to your training too. Supersets and circuits are also a great way to train for muscle endurance. So supersets are basically just exercises that you do back to back that focus on different muscle groups. So while you're after you finish working on one specific muscle group, you just jump into another set immediately after working on a different muscle group, so that you're not using exactly the same muscles, but your heart is still going, right? It's still a pretty intense set, and it also helps you save time if you don't have like an hour and a half or 2 hours to spend at the gym. Doing supersets will help you get through the workout faster. Okay. Because the rest period is shorter. It's a bit more intense. So you're working, the amount of time that your muscles remain at work is longer. Right? And next, I think this is maybe one of Cora's favorite topics, is mobility, flexibility, and stretching. This is part of your recovery routine, or should be part of your recovery routine. Again, to help on your rebound days, but not just the rebound days, but after every workout, you should be doing these stretches. I'm actually I'm very guilty of not always doing my stretches, but I'm started to do them more. especially on, the days that I'm on rebound or my recovery workout days. And it's not a lot. I don't, spend like half an hour doing my stretches. Not my favorite thing to do, but I'll do it because it helps my body get ready to recover and relax. Right? It's like taking a hot bath before you go to sleep. It's like the same thing. So there's the dynamic stretching and the static stretching. Of course, use the dynamic stretching before you do a workout as part of your warm-up routine. You can do the same exact dynamic stretches that Cora's been doing with us at our, before our practices. I did those same sets of stretches when I was over in Thailand. Before every single heat, I would do them. And then, you do your static stretches to relax yourself after your sessions. Okay. All right, we're almost there, guys. So nutrition. I'm not going to talk about nutrition too much because I feel like we talk about it very often on this team, or we started to since last year. We've been very much more mindful of what we intake and how we fuel our bodies before practices. Well, so I'm really proud of you guys. I'm not, I don't get any cut off of that boba protein like sales. I'm not a distributor or a rep. So it doesn't matter to me if you buy that protein or something else or eat actual meat, or tofu or whatnot, as long as you consume it, make it part of your eating routine, your diet. It's really important to try and get as much protein as you can. Try to get as much out of it as possible. I know it's actually really hard to eat your weight in protein. I try. It's hard. I might be able to eat like 80 or 90% of it, but it's so hard to eat like 100% of it because I can't eat that many meals in a day sometimes. But be smart about it. Make healthy choices. Like I was telling him and I was telling Jonathan, if you get a plate of food for breakfast or lunch or dinner, try to eat the meat first, eat the protein first. And then by the time you eat most of the protein, you'll be full. You might not touch as much of your rice. You might not touch as much of, the other things that on a plate that might not be, as good for you, right? So make good choices, better choices, right? Buy some really quick protein snacks, like those pouches of tuna fish. I've been buying those. Those are actually great. It's a great snack with just some crackers. Snack, done. That's it, like 16 grams of protein right there. Another snack, a cup of Greek yogurt, another 15 grams of protein down, done, right? Or cottage cheese, or you drink your protein. That's probably going to be the easiest way, right? But I also want to specify that, not all carbs are bad carbs. You do want some carbs because you need fuel, especially when you're doing those really long zone 2 runs, because zone 2, again, is those are the runs that you're going to need that energy and that fuel, right? So but any type of runs, even your sprints, you're going to need your sugars, okay, because those get tapped into first. So definitely, I can't stress that enough. Eat some carbs, a bun, some simple sugars, a banana, that's going to help. Something that you can digest and get energy from really quickly. Okay. So all of this, what's going to get you through that grind? Trust. Having trust. This is a team effort, so we need to trust each other. We need to start by showing your teammates that you are someone that they can rely on. Because at the end of this whole process, don't forget, we're here to have fun. We're here to push ourselves. We're here to learn about ourselves, learn about our limits, learn about each other, right? And you want to be able to trust, you also want to be able to trust that whoever represents the team with you is ready to compete. next to you. Like the person who's sitting next to you and behind you, in front of you, they work just as hard as you to get that seat. And there shouldn't be any doubt about their abilities or the work that they did to get there. And please, I kindly ask that each of you show one another kindness, courtesy, and respect. And the way to do that is by giving it your best effort. No one wants a seat they only were able to get because the competition didn't show up. There's no glory in that. Please be respectful of your teammates who are putting in a lot of hard work and hours of training. Like we know there may be potentially teams that will try to petition for a slot just, for funsies. And, in reality, that's just being disrespectful to people who worked so hard, right, to earn their way in. So don't try out, in jest, okay? Give it a serious go because it's really a once in a lifetime experience. The stars have to align for us to get this opportunity. Yes, there may be another nationals, right? There's always another nationals, and there's always going to be, another world championship. But will you be doing it with the same group of people? Will you be in that moment? Will that moment ever be the same? No, it won't. It can't be reproduced in exactly the same way. It's special. And we get to represent our country. I've said this many times, but this is a very special opportunity. Don't let it pass by without giving it a shot. Try. So we're also, just to also help to support each other. We're going to try to group everyone into pods, so that we each have support buddies and we have training partners, and we're going to try to, group people together who can help push others along or help keep others accountable. Because sometimes we just need that, and there's no shame in that, right? Sometimes we'll fall off the wagon. It's gonna happen. It's okay. That's why you have support. That's why you have teammates to help you. And this was an idea that we had, but also Tech had mentioned during the call. So, it was nice to also be on the same page with that. But you're gonna have a buddy. You're gonna have buddies to keep tabs on each other and keep you all running. Something else that's going to help get you through the grind is, knowing your motivations. That's going to help get you out the door when things get crazy. And, it also help knowing the reason why you're doing something is going to help keep you grounded, like bringing it back to our mission, right? That helped me, that grounded me. And so it's going to help you too. Think about why you're interested in paddling in the first place, some odd years ago. Why did you join this particular team? There's so many teams in New York. Why this one? Then ask yourself, what is it that you want from this experience? What do you want to get out of it? Many people are going to go through life not knowing what they want. What kind of life do you want to lead? Like, what do you want to be? It's a very powerful question. When you're done with your life, what do you want to say that you've done? Like this is the type of thing that you can actually tell your kids about. Like, hey, mom and dad represented the United States in Italy in a drag rope championship. Those are things that will stay with you, right? And then 3 questions that you can ask yourself is, what do you want? How bad do you want it? And how much are you willing to work for it? how much are you willing to suffer? Because you don't have to make sacrifices, right? There's going to be, you know, outings that you have to go say, oh no, I got practice, I can't come, I'm sorry. Birthday parties that you might miss because you have practice. You know, you think about those things, right? And hopefully that will help bring you back to your purpose. And then we have Super Sundays. I'm going to call them Super Sundays because they're not really Super Saturdays, but like Super Sundays. So we're starting this Sunday. We're going to have our bi-weekly meetup, our bi-weekly team workout. And this is open to anyone to join us. It's going to be from 11 to 12. And they're going to be a group, you know, sprint workouts. So that could be one of your development days because it's going to be hard. But it's once a week and we can do it together and we'll get through it together, right? And it's just a chance for us to get the group together because, you know, like Cora had mentioned in our coaches chat that, you know, because we have to accommodate so many different, we have to accommodate more people, get more people into ERG, we have to split things up into half an hour time slots. And then, you know, but then you kind of like lose the intimacy of being together and working out as a group. And that energy that's there, kind of miss that. So this is one of Tech's ideas actually, is to have a periodic like workout just for that crew, but it won't be just for that crew. That crew should definitely attend those workouts bi-weekly, but it's also open to anyone else who wants to come and just join a workout, right? So this Sunday is going to be our first one. So I hope we will, you know, can show up in numbers for that. And we'll get a workout in, go to lunch, you know, get the grind on. So we are coming to an end. And before we do, I wanted to have a few of our CCNC members who made the DAT team, who was so instrumental in getting us this placement, this opportunity. I wanted them to just speak about, say a few words, share their experiences about, you know, why they wanted to try out for nationals last year, like what inspired them to want to do it, because this is hard, right? And what motivated them? What was their motivation? What were some of the struggles that they faced during their training? Because, you know, it's always going to be a up and down journey, right? And I know we all face struggles, but I want them to kind of talk about theirs that they faced. And then, you know, what was their most favorite experience from the whole journey? What was the most memorable moment, you know, their favorite moment of the entire experience? So I want to thank Cora, Kara, Pam, Roy, and Jin for sharing with us. So let me now yeah, 10th season. I had to go dig up the emails, guys, to see when the first time was that you emailed us. And that's how I found out your seasons. So I looked back at the very first email that you sent me, and the ones that like I replied to. So, okay, let me stop sharing and then let's see if we can hear from Cora. Ask to unmute.
Cora is still mad.
I was like, why is my age on there? No, I just hit my mid-30s.
Well, age is important because I want people to know that.
Put it up.
Who's in my age group? Sorry.
Hey, Roy is older.
Well, Roy is older, so I don't know what you're talking.
But yeah. Yeah, I don't want to take up too much time since we have so many people who are speaking and I know it's late. And hopefully everyone's still paying attention. But yeah, I'll just give like a brief like summary of the season. I know a lot of people that are even on this call right now probably joined middle of the season, so kind of wasn't aware of like my whole journey from last year till now. So I'll just give a brief overview. So like last November, October, December, I was like super gung-ho, hitting the gym up, hitting erg up. I had hit my like peak PR the last Thursday of December. I'd like hit a 235.9. I was like, yeah. I was like at the top of my game. The next day or the same day that I hit that PR, I got COVID. And I got COVID so bad that I lost 10 pounds in a week, and my heart was like not the same. So in a matter of like a week, I went from like my peak fitness level, my PR, to like hitting my zone 5 heart rate on like a pace that I could have typically done very easily before. So it was really hard for me. Like I'm sure a lot of folks who were part of the crew to kind of train for Club Crew Nationals like had watched me really struggle with that kind of fall, right? For probably 2 to 3 months, I like struggled to just get back on the wagon and watched like everyone else on the team, people that were my peers, like get seconds ahead of me, right? Like every second on a PR or every second on their accounts. But I just watched everyone like kind of dash past me. And it was really, really hard to honestly watch that, right? I lost 2 to 3 months of time. That's a lot when you're training for off season. And I finally tried to get back on the wagon, got back on it. You know, it was a struggle because I found my footing again. And then just as easily as I finally hit my PR again in May, I like found my footing again. I like got back to working out, got back on the erg. And just as I hit my next PR, 0.3 seconds less than my one December, I injured my shoulder. And the reason why Jenny stresses that you don't try to build your strength when we've already started the water season is because you don't want to get injured when you're about to race, when you're about to compete and you're preparing for that. So I made a fatal error of trying to build my strength when the season had already started, injured my shoulder, and that took me out completely from even competing in nationals. So while I had, made the time trial cut, I had made the team, I couldn't even compete. Like I couldn't be in the race with the rest of the team. So like at this point, it was June. I had worked so many times, stumbled so many times, kept hitting the same PR over and over, like not really making so much progress. It's just like falling down and getting back up. And, I had to find something else to keep myself going. Even though I couldn't be part of the boat at nationals, I was like, all right, well, I accept my fate. I can't paddle. My shoulder's shot. And I decided to drum. I poured myself into everything else that could help the team. Drumming, logistics, planning, showing up for every single practice to shout at the crew and just like organize, like push the team, whatever I could do. I just felt so much FOMO not being there. I couldn't remove myself from practice. So if during the season you saw me just sitting at the helm and like at the front of the boat and yelling, it's because trust me, I wanted to be there paddling. I wanted to be there right next to everybody else, but I just couldn't because I was severely injured. So yeah, I spent most of my season recovering from my injury, going to physical therapy, doing those physical therapy exercises. And finally in August, I got back on the boat again. And I knew I wouldn't be able to do flushing, right? So you guys saw me kind of running around, and I worked my way back up to Mercer. I was like, all right, Mercer's my next target. If I can even just paddle Mercer, I'd be really happy. So honestly, like from August till November, I've been working my way back up again, slowly, building up my fitness level. But the lessons I learned, don't do strength training during water season. Mentally, I've gotten a lot stronger from the kind of lowest of the low I hit back in January after COVID. And now this is like my redemption period. Like I'm trying to get back on that boat, not as a drummer for Italy, but as someone who's paddling on that boat at the same level as everyone else. So you guys can guarantee I'm going to be pushing myself pretty hard and also learning from the lessons and mistakes I've made in the past And sure as hell, I'm not freaking getting COVID again this season. So if I wear a mask around you, that's why. I got my vaccine. But yeah, I haven't hit my PR. I still haven't hit 235.6 again since May. I'm still working my way back up. I'm trying to build my foundation. I'm trying to build a stronger foundation so that it doesn't crumble underneath me again when I train in this off season. So that's my journey. It isn't one of like a lot of successes, right? And a lot of like, PRs, but I think mentally I've been a lot stronger. Physically I will become stronger, and this is like my why, for paddling. And for trying to get on the Italy team, I just really want to redeem myself for what I wasn't able to achieve at nationals. So that's me. That's applied.
I just want to add that Cora is a true team player. Like even when she was injured, she would come to practices, and you guys have seen all of that, right? She would take videos for us. She would yell at us. She would give feedback to us. Like she is still there. Like she didn't just like get injured and fall off the face of the earth. As some of us may feel like doing it. It's like, oh, I can't paddle anyways. Why would I go to practice? Like Cora never thought that. So just really wanted to say thank you to everything that she's done. And then obviously for national, she did a lot. Like even when she's not paddling, like all the work that she's done is like more than what we've put in to the team. So definitely want to say a big thank you to Cora. And she's back this year. So
Yes.
competition will be years. And I think part of the journey is really working hard together. Like last year, what got me so into nationals, honestly, for a long ass time, sorry for my language, for a long time, I could only think about one word in my head, and that was nationals. And because I was so angry after Mercer last year because we couldn't make it to the 2K by like 0.02 second or something ridiculously small. And I was like, what? Like, are we that slow that we didn't make it to a 2K? And knowing that everyone there was like, yeah, like in UE history, we've always made a 2K. So I'm like, what happened this year? Like, why did we not make the 2K? And I was just fired up. Like for a whole month after Mercer, my body was just hot. like imagine waking up and you're thinking about that 0.02 second and then nationals, and then going to sleep, you're thinking about the same thing. And then kind of crazy. And I bought the erg, and then I bought an OC just because I was like, I'll do whatever I can to chase, right? I'll make up for the lost time. Like, why are we not good enough? Why are we not fast enough? I want to do whatever I can to be the strongest version of myself. And I think like that's always been my mindset. Like I'm not competing with anyone but myself. I can have this time last year as my PR, but then this year I want to break that record, and then next year I'm going to break that record again. So, and I kind of just like zoning out all the noises around you, and I think that has been really helpful because when training for nationals, I got laid off from my job in April. So between April and July, I had a lot of time to just paddle and do whatever I want to like get fit and stuff. But then, and that's dangerous, right? Because if I paddle so much, I might burn out. And there is like a couple of weeks where I just paddle so much that my hands actually started really hurting. I was like, Jenny, do your hands ever hurt from paddling too much? And it's a thing, So then handling like burnout and then just like mental mindsets, that's a thing too. But then favorite part is definitely training with everyone, just seeing everyone grow. I remember being in Sarasota, and then the race was 3 day long, right? First day, we did the 200. We're like, okay, like we got second. Let's see how it turns out, right? Second day, we got second again. And we're like, we're doing pretty well. Like we might actually be able to go to Italy. And just like the thought of being able to go to Italy with the people that I, see as my closest friends in New York City, like that made me cry actually, like secretly many times. But I didn't let any of you see. But it's just the thought of going to Italy, like representing the country, is such a big achievement. And I know that everyone who made the team put in a lot of effort. And so I can rely and trust my team members and saying that, like I know how much work you have put in, how much work I have put in. It's a fair game. Like it's not like I'm expecting too much of you, you're not expecting too much of me. Yeah, it's fair. And then we have put in all the commitment is the same. So I feel like the bond is very special. So I hope to definitely see more of that this year.
Pam, can you share some of your experiences, like why you decided to want to try out for CCNC, like what
Sure.
were some of your
Yeah.
struggles and like what was your favorite like moment?
Okay, so my passion to actually compete at this level with UE has been for like since 2018, 2019, I believe. Most of you know that I try to go, for Team USA, and I learned then that I wanted to go to that level with UE. Now with some other teams, it was with UE. So when the time came that we were going nationals, I was like, yes, I have to do it. So that was my passion. My struggle has been time. It's been really hard working 2 jobs and finding time to actually work out and the diet and everything like that. But I'm just trying my best, and that's about it, But right now, the feeling that I love right now is has always been like when we race, during that race time, it's really like that feeling that we get like when we're about to race, and at the end how we feel like we did so good, we almost made it, like to be in first and things like that. That's like the type of things that motivates me the most.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, guys, like Pam seriously has been working 2 jobs, since the whole summer. So I can't 2 jobs, guys. She's holding it together. She's trying her hardest. She's trying to make time. I can't give anyone else any pity. I'm sorry. Don't complain because we have people who have families who, have other obligations in life, multiple jobs, right? And they're trying really hard to make it work. So, it's the least that any of us could do if we are even remotely serious about meeting, right? Thank you, Pam. Roy, is he still on?
Roy said he had to go run errands.
Oh, mother. Oh well. Well, Roy's he was like definitely on top of my list when I was thinking about who do I want to like say something, because Roy, this is only like he just finished his second year of paddling and he made our CCNT team purely on grit. He came to every single like practice session that we have, on whether it was on a holiday or not. He like found the time somehow to train, and yeah, he was so stubborn about it, which is something that you have to possess. You have to possess this like stubbornness, and he certainly has that quality. And I really wanted him to talk about it, but he's not here. So hopefully we'll get to hear from him another time, and hopefully he can share his story. But it's a really good story. But okay, so now we have Jin, our last speaker. Jin, would you mind sharing some of your favorite moments and your struggles and why you wanted to try out?
All right. I'll actually try to keep the same template that Kara had. So my motivation, why did I join or work towards the Sarasota crew? I think, a lot of you here were talking about how like that not making it to the 2K in Mercer the previous year actually motivated you guys. But actually, from my perspective, I wasn't even part of that race. If you guys remembered, I was actually benched for a couple of the races throughout the season.
Mercer.
Like not just Mercer, but just also I think there were some Montreal races too. So it's just to say that like I think anyone in anywhere in their dragon boat sort of like career, I would say not even career, just like hobby for some, you can start anywhere and get anywhere, right? Like for me, I started with the team just, in 2021, so I'm relatively new as well. I came in not knowing a lick about dragon boating. Jenny and the team here showed us all of that. And when Sarasota was about to get kicked off, we were like, hey, we need to know people better. Like we need to have a benchmark so that we can better select people for races. And then I was like, finally, this is my time to actually put in the work and put in the numbers that matter, right? And the first practice that I attended where I logged my first erg distance was really humbling because I actually pulled, believe it or not, the same, actually slower than Kara.
Why are you making it sound so shocking?
So I was slower than Kara with my first ever 500 baseline. And that was right before our off-season training for Mercer. She pulled, I think it was a 235. I pulled a 236.5. Right? And then 200. So I was like, oh man, I got benched for some races in the season. I only right behind Kara. So my motivation was just being a better version of myself and being able to help an underdog team become the best they can be, right? So that was my motivation, and I wanted actually following what Pam said. What motivated me even more was seeing the results after each race and everyone smiling and be like, "Wow, that was an amazing race." But anyways, fast forward and just talk about some numbers of what you guys can achieve over just one off season. Is I started off with a 235 or 236 500 time. My PR is now 210. So I shaved off 26.5 seconds. I shaved off almost 5 seconds off my 200. I didn't do any 30-minute pieces until I think January. But now I'm doing 30-minute pieces routinely. I've run a half marathon, which I've never done before I joined Dragon Boat.
Half
But
marathon.
now I do it routinely. So I'm just trying to say that like it doesn't have to be making it onto the team. Like if that's your goal, that's fine. But like also treat it as a personal goal too. Like you want to feel the best that you want to you can be. You know, it can be personal. Like I wake up every day feeling amazing. I feel like I can breathe in the world with each breath because of how fit I am now because of you guys. So yeah, really think about your goal and your mission here. And I think it will help you get the results like the rest of us have gone through Sarasota. And let us motivate you too. Like everyone here went through all of it. And Cora shared a very touching story, but like we're here as a support system too. Like we're not gonna let anyone fall off the wagon if you can help it yourself and you allow us to help you. We're a team and we're in this off season together. So it's a fraternity, sorority, a brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever it is, we're here for you. And we're here to motivate you and for you to motivate us. That's all. I'll just leave it at that.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
I already talked, but I just want to say that we're telling you guys, oh, we dropped like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 25 seconds, but that's because we put in a lot of hard work. Like it doesn't happen overnight. It's not like, oh, we erg last week and then we PR and then this week we didn't do anything, but we PR again. Like that never happens. Okay, so we put in consistent work, and consistency is very important here because if you only work out twice a week, I know Jenny always says something is better than nothing. I'm not that nice. I'll tell you, to get into Italy, the crew, you have to work out at least 3 times a week, and 3 is the minimum. The program that I have for myself is at least 5-6 times a week, and that's because if you rest so much, like half the week, you're not at your how can I say, like the maximum potential that you can have for yourself. Like imagine if you train 6 days a week, you can be this fast, right? But then if you only train 3 times a week, you're still right here. And Jenny always says like you can't, what is it? You can't let other people train more than you. You know, if there's any day that you're like, okay, like, oh, I'm just so tired, it's so cold out there, I don't want to run, you know, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. But then if you just think about how other people are combating that and battling with that thought, but they're still working out, and how they are putting in the work and you're not, then you're missing out. You know, you're losing on that time. And other people are just going to use that time to get stronger than you. You know, Jenny got into Team USA because of that, right? She didn't let anyone train more than her. And so she got in. So I want us all to have that mindset where I'm not asking you to go crazy, right? And train 24 hours a day, but then do whatever you can, do the best you can commit to Dragon Ball, and then also just dedicate whatever you can. You know, like if you can dedicate 3 times, that's great. 5 times, even better. 6 times, you're obsessed, like all of us.
That's correct.
So if we can all be just a little bit obsessed, like, just imagine how fast we can be. And this year, I really want to see us unlock that potential. So yeah, consistency is definitely key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you guys haven't seen the video, I put together a video for Sarasota, and I think it gives me goosebumps every time watching it, and it definitely motivates me.
Let me find
It's
it.
4,000 plus views on it now.
Now it's gonna be like 5,000 tomorrow.
We're all gonna be watching it.
Yeah, but it was a great journey, and I want to see each one of you guys go through it with us.
Yes, yes. Thank you guys for sharing your stories. We are writing our own stories, right? We are writing our own stories. We have the ability to rewrite our stories. It doesn't have to be one way. You know, we might have felt about it a certain way, but it's never too late to say, hey, I'm going to throw my hat in and I'm going to give it a serious go. Because you have nothing to lose, right? But you're going to have stories to tell afterwards, right? Tell your family, tell your friends, coworkers, your future kids. Maybe you'll have a medal to show for it. Who knows, you know? Dream big. I want to just leave you with this quote from Bill Beswick. He's a sports psychologist, and this really resonated with me, and I hope it resonates with all of you too. He said, I prefer to be the kind of person who steps up and faces a challenge than the person who stays below the line and avoids a challenge. What kind of person do you want to be? How bad do you want it? And how much are you willing to suffer? So hopefully that encourages everyone to come on this journey with us. You know, you'll have all the support here that you need. And, you know, definitely reach out to me if you have any questions about any of the more technical stuff, the science, the biology behind it. I spent months, you know, taking these courses and learning about it, and, you know, let me know if there's anything I can do to help you guys. So yeah, let's go on this journey together. Let's write a new story. And, you know, if anyone else is interested in joining the World's Run, but, you know, haven't mentioned it to me yet, and you're considering, please let me know, because we're going to get the groups together. We're going to get the small groups created. And I want to know, you know, if I want to know your name so that I can, you know, make the groups. And then also I want to add you to our Discord training group as well. So we have a training chat going on as well that I would love to add, you know, you guys into. So please let me know, message me, email me, whatever you need. You know, I'm going to try and help the best that I can. And I know, you know, Alan, all the assistant coaches are going to be there to support you every step of the way too. Okay.
All right. I know this is running long. I just want to say something really quick. we're a team. This is a team sport, right? And we believe that everyone here has a potential to contribute to the team. Everyone on this call, I'm assuming, is interested or just wants to learn a little more information about Club Cruise. But if you're like on the on the edge, deciding whether you want to try out or not, just do it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You're going to be the fittest you've ever were in your entire life. It'll help you develop better habits to be a healthier person. And the healthier the person you are, the happier you'll be. The more you can contribute to the team. Also, there's gonna be a lot of benefits to you to go through this experience, to learn about yourself, to learn about what you're capable of, and to be healthier overall. That's just something to consider. All right. And again, aside from that, this is a team sport, and we want everyone to grow together. We want everyone to experience this as a team, as a group. We always believe in bringing everyone up together, and we hope to do that with this also. All right, that's it for me.
Yep. Thank you. Definitely reach out to me if you need help on training plans or any questions at all. Just please reach out. We'll get you whatever you need. And if you want to talk to me personally, privately about anything else, please let's keep the line of communication open. It really helps me to know what to expect so I don't like worry about you guys. So please talk to me, send me a message. You know, let's keep talking, or at least keep the communication channels open. All right, guys, have a good night. I will send out the recording to everyone who missed it and wants a replay.
It's Charlie. Betty's great. It's your cat.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for hanging on.
Jenny.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Hey, good night.
Sayonara.
Good night.
Wait, stay on, Betty. Don't leave.
You just want to see the cat.
I miss Charlie. He's so cute.
I like how Betty mouth, but I love
You do, like
rice.
whatever you want to him. He just kind of deals with it.
What, Charlie?
Aw, it's the little bell.
He looks pissed.
Everyone's staying on for the cat.
This is how he looks.
Look at his
Oh
neck.
my god.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good night,
look at
everyone.
Charlie.
Right.
It's a
I'm
bow.
cracking up.
Is that a new collar, Betty? Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh my god.
he looks so annoyed.
That's okay.
All right.
Hey,
What were you crocheting?
Yeah.
I'm making myself a scarf,
Night all.
Oh.
but still recording.
Oh, let me stop the recording. Don't.